Alright lads, let's dive into the latest from Celtic Park, and we're starting off with a wee tale from the international stage. So I was just prepping for today's video, got a bit of background noise going and happened to flick on a Canada game. Now, why was I watching Canada, you ask? Well, it's because our very own Johnston was on the pitch. Always good to keep an eye on the boys even when they're off on national duty. So Canada were up against El Salvador, and it was one of those strange games where the result maybe doesn't quite tell the full story. Canada won by 2-0, but El Salvador were down to 9 men before the first half was even over. To red cards inside the opening 45, and the second one was a proper moment of madness. A lad from El Salvador just elbowed Johnston off the ball. Straight red, no hesitation. Completely unnecessary and reckless. Now after that, as you'd expect, the second half was just Canada completely dominating. I mean, even 11 versus 11, you'd fancy Canada, but against 9, come on. But here's the thing. They only scored 2. Both goals came in a burst of 2 minutes, and right after that, Johnston was subbed off around the 56th minute. So we didn't really get a proper look at him for long, but it was enough to note a couple of things. Interestingly, after the break, Johnston was playing as a right winger rather than his usual right back role. Makes sense though, considering they were facing 9 players and could afford to push forward. And just to calm any nerves, he was fine after that elbow. Shook it off, no drama. It's always a bit of a scare when one of your lads gets caught off the ball like that. But he looked all right, so that's your Johnston update. Maybe not everyone's overly fussed about Canada's fixtures, but I've got time for any match that involves a Celtic player, and I reckon plenty of you do too. Now shifting gears slightly, the preseason's just around the corner. The boys are expected back at Lennoxtown early next week. It's all kicking off again with training sessions resuming, and the buzz starting to build. First match is already on the calendar. Next Friday we'll be facing Queen's Park. A nice little Scottish clash to ease into things. But don't expect to see the full squad back in that one. Some of the lads like Johnston and others who've been away on international duty. Kasper Schmeichel, for example, they'll likely be given a bit more rest. Maybe Kieran Tierney too, depending on his schedule, but we will see a Celtic team out there make no mistake. And this week the club filled in a few more gaps in the preseason schedule. A few fixtures we already knew about, but now it's all pretty much confirmed and mapped out. So here's how it's shaping up. We're starting off with Queen's Park on Friday as mentioned. Then the following Tuesday we'll take on Cork City at Páirc Uí Chaoimh over in Ireland. It's a nice move from the club connecting with fans over there, and I'm sure the Irish boys will be buzzing for that. Then it's off to Portugal for a Behin Close-Eaters friendly on Saturday the 12th of July. The opponent, Estrela da Amadora. Not exactly a household name, but they're a top-flight Portuguese side, finished 15th last season, just above the drop zone, so a decent challenge, especially in terms of getting match sharpness. After that, it's a proper test. Sporting Lisbon on Wednesday the 16th. That's a 7:30 kickoff local time, and one I'll definitely be watching closely. Then we're back home at Celtic Park for a friendly against Newcastle United on Saturday the 19th, kicking off at 3 in the afternoon. Big crowd expected for that one. And then we've got the Como Cup, which is shaping up to be a cracking wee tournament. Our first match is against Ajax, and that'll be on Thursday the 24th of July, 7:30 kickoff Glasgow time, 8:30 in Italy. That follows the opening game of the tournament, where Como take on Alali on the Wednesday night. Now the Ajax clash will be a proper test. Win or lose, the Friday's a rest day for all teams. Then Saturday is the third place playoff, also at 7:30, followed by the final on Sunday evening at 7. All the matches are being held at the Stadio Giuseppe Sinigaglia. Lovely little ground by the lake in Como. Now here's the bit that caught my attention. The club made a point of highlighting that 3 of our preseason opponents, Newcastle, Sporting Lisbon and Ajax, are all Champions League group stage sides this year. That's no coincidence. It's clearly a strategy to prepare the team for the level of intensity we're going to face in Europe. And honestly, I'm all for it. You want to sharpen the squad, test them against the best. It's not just about fitness, it's about getting the mentality right, setting the tone early. And now to some signing news. Ross Doohan has officially rejoined Celtic. Not some quiet under Theodore move either. The club gave him the full welcome treatment, proper announcement, the whole works. I was glad to see that, to be honest. He deserves that kind of recognition. Doohan actually opened up a bit about the move, said it all started with a simple text from Stevie Woods asking if he was free for a chat. They got on the phone, and after a quick bit of small talk, Woods asked if he'd be interested in coming Back, Duhan said yes before the question was even finished. That's the kind of attitude you want to hear. Now he's fully aware he's coming in as the third-choice keeper. There's no sugarcoating that. Schmeichel and Vasilis Barkas are ahead of him in the pecking order. But Duhan said he's buzzing to be back, looking forward to working with top keepers, and that he's ready to graft and push for his chance. That's all you can ask. He's confident, says he believes in his ability and wants to make a real impression. We also got a bit of chat about the Scotland national team. Duhan made his debut recently, and given the current state of Scotland's goalkeeping options, you do wonder if there's a path for him to break through properly. With Angus Gunn injured, the door might be slightly open. Of course it's going to be hard if he's not playing regular club football, but stranger things have happened. As fans, we sometimes overlook third-choice keepers, but they play a big role in the squad. Take Scott Bain, for example. Not been a regular starter for a while, but he's always been a steady presence. In the dressing room, goalkeepers train separately. Most of the time, it's a tight-knit group, and having the right personalities in there matters. Duhan could easily step into that kind of role. Right, still loads to get through, but that's the first half of today's Celtic Deep Dive. Let me know what you think about the preseason fixtures, Johnston's performance with Canada, and of course the return of Ross Duhan. Stick around, there's more coming up. Now shifting back to behind the scenes moves, there's been an interesting development regarding the player pathway manager role at Celtic. You know the job Darren O'Day held before heading off to Swansea. It's one of those positions that might not grab headlines every day, but it's crucial for the future of the club. Basically, the role bridges the gap between the academy, the B team, and the first team, ensuring there's a proper route for young talent to progress and keeping tabs on lads out on loan as well. At the time, I floated a few names, including Charlie Mulgrew, and there was the usual chat about jobs for the boys. Folk worried we're just handing roles to ex-players because of sentiment rather than merit, and look, in some roles I agree with that. We've seen our best managerial appointments come when we step outside the Celtic bubble. Brendan Rodgers' Ange Postecoglou didn't have previous ties to the club and did brilliantly. But this particular job, I think having someone who's walked the path, come through the youth ranks, broken into the first team, knows what the pressure is like. That's a big advantage. You want someone who understands what it takes to wear the shirt, to deal with expectations, and to mentor the next generation through that same journey. So the update is this: according to reports, Sean Maloney is in line to take over the role. Now that's a name with plenty of Celtic pedigree. He was manager of the under-20s during Rodgers' first spell, so there's already a solid relationship there. They respect each other's football brains, and that kind of chemistry can only help. Maloney's footballing CV is solid. Played for U.S. Aston Villa, Wigan, and even had a stint in the MLS with Chicago Fire. Since hanging up the boots, he's done his coaching badges, been part of the Belgian national setup under Roberto Martinez, and had spells managing Hibs and Wigan Athletic. Okay, those last two didn't exactly set the world on fire, but he's not coming in to manage the first team. This is a different kind of job entirely. What matters is his understanding of the club, his experience coming through the academy system, and his ability to connect with young players. He's lived the life they're trying to build. I think he ticks a lot of the right boxes for this kind of role, and the timing makes sense as we look to really focus on integrating more academy talent into the first team picture. Now, before we wrap, let's talk transfers, or lack thereof. There's been a wee update on Michelangelo Balikwisha, the left winger from Royal Antwerp. We've been linked with Belgian journalist Sacha Tavalieri is reporting that Celtic are still keen on him, but internal factors at the club have slowed things down. The player wants to move, and the club still sees him as a target, but there's a bit of hesitation around the fee, and Werp are apparently holding out for €6 million. Given that Balikwisha's only got 12 months left on his contract, I'd be surprised if we paid that full amount. You could have him on a pre-contract in 6 months. But then again, if the staff believe he's the right fit and he can come in and make an impact straight away, maybe it's worth it. The only thing that gives me pause is his injury record. A few long-term absences in recent seasons, and that's always a red flag. You don't want to shell out big money on a player who might not stay fit. But we'll see what happens. Still time left in the window. Let me know your thoughts on Maloney potentially stepping into the pathway manager role. And if you think Balikwisha is worth the gamble. Pre-season's right around the corner. Things are heating up. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Whispers are growing louder across Glasgow and beyond as murmurs suggest that Andrew Robertson could be on the verge of a sensational return to Scottish football, with none other than Celtic said to be at the heart of it. The Scotland captain, currently plying his trade with Liverpool, has long been admired by Hoops supporters, and recent chatter has sent the rumor mill into overdrive. No official word has emerged from Parkhead or Anfield, but sources close to the situation hint at discussions taking place behind closed doors. While some dismiss the talk as pure fantasy, others believe there may be more substance to the speculation than first thought. Robertson, who grew up a Celtic fan and started his senior career at Queen's Park before moving on to Dundee United, has never hidden his affection for the Glasgow Giants. Now, with Liverpool reportedly looking to reshape their squad under new leadership, a dramatic homecoming may not be as far-fetched as it once seemed. Timing, of course, would be everything, with Celtic preparing for another Champions League campaign and needing both leadership and experience at the back. A player of Robertson's caliber could be the marquee signing to galvanize the squad and excite the faithful. It's no secret that the club has been eyeing reinforcements, and landing one of Scotland's most decorated players would send a powerful message both domestically and in Europe. Yet, the financials remain a hurdle. Robertson's wages at Liverpool are well beyond Celtic's typical structure, and any move would likely require compromise from all parties. Still, dreamers dare to believe, and in football, stranger things have happened. Whether this ends as nothing more than wishful thinking or blossoms into the story of the summer remains to be seen. But for now, Celtic fans can't help but imagine the sight of Robertson bombing down the left flank at Celtic Park, the roar of the crowd behind him, and the badge he's long admired over his heart. The thought alone is enough to set pulses racing. Hello, fan, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.